Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Biology. What's your BSA score? The Biology Skills Assessment is the only verified skills metric endorsed by the NAIA, NJCAA, and a growing number of NCAA coaches to discover and develop the best talent for your team. This 4-minute, 40-shot test can be taken free today on the Biology mobile app. Elevate your game. What's something special you do with your parents?
Yeah, so we do a father-son retreat every year, and I'll tell you, I'm the athletic coordinator here too, and so I get to sit in 1,000 interviews for all sorts of sports. And so one time we had an opening for our head football position. He talked about he had a father-son retreat where they went fishing with their dads, and I just and he kind of talked about some of the things they did off of that. And so like every great idea, I stole that. And so what we've been doing for most every year is that we go up to Oklahoma City and they have a man-made rafting area. And so we take the dads, we come up on a Saturday morning and we go raft for a couple hours, and it's just a total blast. And from there, we go out to dinner that night, and then we come back as a program. And this is all about just being intentional with your program. And so I usually have my assistant work with the team, the players, and then I go work with the dads. And so part of it is for them is talking about the pressure that they're putting on their kids sometimes. And it's been so enlightening. I had one dad say one time, he goes, I was driving a wedge between me and my son because of basketball, and I was putting him away. And he talked in front of these other parents and says, don't do what I did. He goes, this was the problem. This is how my relationship has changed with my kid because of how I've kind of started to do things. And then it's also part of I'm starting to craft the idea of, we don't want parents who are only rooting for their kid.
Yep.
I want you to root for this kid's son right here. I mean, his son is putting in all this effort right now. When he makes a great play, this is what he want to say. And just remember that this kid is 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old. We don't want to criticize these kids. That's not what we're here for. We want to create a community where everybody feels included, like that they're part of this team and supportive, and really try to give examples. In the past, we talked to them, hey, give me an example of a parent, without using names, that's kind of ruined the stands for you. So that's pretty intentional, that piece. But then the boys, at the same token, they're working with the assistant, and the question is, what do you need from your dad this year? And for some of it literally is, I don't want to talk about the game afterwards. If you want to say great job or whatnot, but let me bring it up to you, Dad. I had one kid say, he goes, you used to pack my lunch and write me a note. What if you did that for me on game days now? And so it's when they come back, we bring the two groups together, and then the son talks to the dad about what he needs for him this year from dad this year. And man, there's been some powerful moments, and I've seen some relationships change with kids. And it's been, like I said, we all are going to have some problems with some parents, but I feel like it's been a lot better since that's happened. And then we finish the night off. This is always the thing I think is the coolest thing. We go around the room, and I'll say it's Matt Saman, senior this year. Everybody talk about what you appreciate about Matt. And so every kid in the program talks about what they appreciate about you. Man, the way that you grind every day, it's inspiring for me to see. Or man, just how vocal you are. You're the guy that brings joy to the room every day. And so every parent gets to hear the great things that are saying about their kid. And so you see the kid puff up his chest, you see the dad puff up his chest. And in a world in which we're so cynical and we try to tear people down on a daily basis, we're actually trying to bring up and elevate and make each kid feel like, what, they're important. It's maybe one of the best days of the year for us.
All right. So this is great stuff. I believe this is what our talks on here are all about, is not just what you do, but how you do what you do. And you did a great job of going through it. I just want to make sure You go to this rafting place, and you all go through it.
Yep.
What boys? What time of year are you doing this? And how you determine who does and doesn't go?
Yeah, so we do it during the bye week of football in the fall.
Okay.
Up into our season, if we have a guy that's playing football, I usually talk to the head football coach and say, "Hey, can I steal him in the bye week?" It's usually the best time is to do it so if they play on a
Saturday of the bye week.
That's Saturday of the bye week, so we're not interfering with the game plan. So we get up in the morning early, we go raft, and obviously not every program can do it that way. My clientele is such that we have some resources and everybody can pay to raft and stay in the hotel. But
how many guys you typically taking?
So it's what I think is going to be my varsity roster.
Okay.
And so sometimes we've added some people that didn't make it, and sometimes we've left some people off that made it. So it's not a perfect science on that, but we all have a kind of a ballpark idea of who's there. Is what we've done typically.
So you guys go, you do the rafting, you go eat together, and then are you staying somewhere over? Like, do you have where are you staying that night?
Yeah, so we just choose a hotel. So
okay.
I call ahead of time and get we set a block of rooms and things, and so we have everybody staying right there. But there's no reason why you couldn't do it if money was an issue. Somebody's got a lake house someplace. You guys could all stay at a lake house or do an Airbnb or something along those lines. So you don't have to be a wealthy school district to do something like this. And it doesn't have to be an overnight thing. There's all sorts of different ways that you can craft it to make it work for your program.
You take the dads and you meet with them. Assistant coach takes the players and meet, but you have your kind of agenda that you do want to discuss with them, come back together, and that's where players talk to dads, and then everybody shares.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty awesome. And it's like, it's so interesting to see. It's so amazing how spot on the kids are talking about each other's teammates too. Like, it's like I rarely have to ever kind of add something to it because they're so spot on with the kids. They know each other so well.
Yeah. Tyler Costin talked about bringing all of the stakeholders of your program on board. And I think I try to do my best to build the culture of our players, them with each other. And so pretty intentional with that. I don't think I do a great job of bringing in who are probably the most important stakeholders, the parents.
Yeah.
I don't think beside our parent meeting at the beginning of the year, it's almost like parents just trust that I'm going to build up your son and we're not going to have any issues. I think this is a way to really bring them on board into it, be a part of the culture, not just somebody that observes a great culture. Coach, I think that's huge.
And it's okay to be a little bit vulnerable too. I think as the head coach, I think we try to put up so many different walls. There's no way my parents would ever had a conversation like this with my head coach in 1991. It would never have happened. But really, I think in some ways being vulnerable makes you more human. And so that when you do have some of those struggles and with some parents, and sometimes they can go back and say, he's actually a pretty good dude. Hopefully, I hope that's what they're saying. Again, it's not a perfect deal. I think we're all going to have parent issues, but I've had pretty minimal issues since we've done this. And so maybe that's a little bit of help towards things.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.